several of your meetings, that are online. So I wanted to see who you were and how you guys worked together. And it was fun. It was very, very interesting.
In a good way.
Well, it's a lot more laid back than what it was even in Montrose. And I was very active in Pueblo County, and I enjoyed it. And so, I've seen the growth in the counties, and I've seen the growth in the cities. The difference between the county and the city government is just huge. In the county, you got the roads and bridges and just so much more. And in the cities, it's smaller but more intricate. And so, it's different and harder in different circumstances. So it seemed as though in the last few meetings I've seen, you guys have worked well together, and that's important. I don't know how well you work with roads and bridges and how they work with the county. I don't know how you work with all that stuff, but those are things that will happen as if I'm selected, will work with you and be able to walk that minefield.
Yeah, I think, and sorry, I'm Laura Spear, I'm Ward 1, so east of the highway and east of the tracks. Fred didn't introduce himself either, so Fred is also Ward 1. He just lives a few blocks west of here, so, but I think, and I'm always very loud.
This is just loud in general. Yeah.
Well, I always got in trouble for being loud too. So, but I think that we all have different ideas, and at the end of the day, I mean, we can voice our differences, but at the end of the day, we get along pretty good. We have, and Allie was talking about, and this is more of a informal setting for us too. So we're a little bit less formal here, but her question is along the lines of, we represent the city, and so we have our differences, but then we go out and kind of have a unified front. So we do work well with the commissioners. They are kind of in a change. They're changing their roles and their positions and who's in on the Weld County Commission. But we try to work with our neighbor sister cities, and we just really try to make it so that we're working for Evans.
It's necessary.
Yep.
It's very important. It's not bad to have differences, and that's what, when you, not so much an argument, but when you discuss the differences and where they're heading and how they're going to affect the necessary city and all the things around it, one opinion is never perfect. And so it is good to have that discussion back and forth. And of course, you look at legal counsel and you say,
Right. And to go a little bit more further on what Laura was just mentioning too, one of the things, and as part of Allie's question is, even though we have our disagreements, we are definitely here to work for the best interest of the city. And one of the things that we promote is, even if, say, Fred or anybody votes no on an issue and the majority of the council passes it, even though we may not have voted for it, we'll still go out and promote that, whether we agreed with it or disagreed with it on our vote. It's, hey, this is what the majority of the council voted for, and we're going to have a unison voice going out there and promote it.
Sure.
And so that's one of the things that we like to promote. We want to make sure that if we're all saying one thing, that way if we get a phone call from a constituent and say, hey, I heard this, and somebody says, what? We can at least all speak to it,
Yeah, you don't need to have anybody being divisive from within. And that's just it. I mean, like we say, if you have a discussion on here between the 7 of you or 6 of you, that's fine. And so you just want it, once the decision is made and the ruling is made, then you're all together.
Exactly.
So, and
Good. Sorry. Well, do you have anything else for us?
How soon will you make a decision?
So we have 5 other applicants after you this evening. After we're done interviewing all the applicants, we're going to have a council discussion and come up with, who the individual we select. And I will notify everybody tomorrow by about 5 o'clock in the evening. So if I get some free time in between work hours where I can start making phone calls, I'll start making them earlier, but expect it probably no later than 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. So Thank you so much for coming out this evening. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful evening.
Got that? I was gonna grab that for you.
I'm fine. I just had a little surgery. I'm sorry. Take me just a.
No, that's
Oh,
safe.
yeah,
That's okay.
we got time.
You got something, yeah, we're good.
Thanks very much.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Okay, guess what we have?
What's that?
20 minutes. For 20 minutes?
What time's our next one?
I'm guessing.
See if our next one's here.
Yeah.
Daniel,
Burmeister.
The last guy was on fire.
yeah.
Good to know.
Well, thank you so much for coming this evening. We really appreciate your interest in joining the city council and being a representative of Ward 3. We have 6 questions that we're going to ask of you this evening. We're going to go around the room. You've kind of already introduced yourself when we introduced yourself to us. And yeah, so how it's going to work is after you, we'll have 4 more applicants for this evening. After that, we're going to have a little discussion at the end and make our selection. Tomorrow by 5 p.m. is when I expect to have all the phone calls made to the applicants and let them know either way. So if you're ready, we'll go ahead and get started.
I'm ready.
All right, first question. In 2 minutes or less, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are interested in being on the Evans City Council.
All right, great question. 2 minutes or less. So Dan Burmeister is my name. I've lived in Evans for just a tick over 4 years. I'm a father of 3. Think that it's important, even though my 3 are adult age children, think that it's always important to demonstrate to our kids the act of service. So that's a big thing to me is getting involved in your community and service. When I moved to Evans, I think about 3 or 4 months after I moved here, we went into COVID. So I was kind of locked down, so to speak, and couldn't be actively involved. And now I'm at a point in my life where I want to be involved and want to contribute to the community that I consider home and that I hope to retire in and live out the rest of my days in. So I'm excited and certainly honored to be here and to meet all of you. I've read your priorities. I think they're fabulous. I've read the code of conduct, the roles and responsibility and respect. I think that sits well with me and want to learn, get back, and grow myself too.
Great, thank you.
Hello, Dan. My name is Allie. Nice to meet you. So as a council member, you're required to attend a number of meetings and events that generally occur during your personal time. Here really quick. You also serve as an ambassador to the city. Are you willing to make the time commitment and effort it takes to serve as a council member? So I also want to elaborate on the ambassador component, just knowing that you represent the city outside of the chamber as well. So
Yeah, so that's a great question, and certainly thought about that and read through that in the code of conduct as well. That some of those obligations, as assigned by the mayor and the council, would exist. More than happy to commit my personal time. Like I said, that I think that it's important to get involved and get back to the community that you live in. Consider myself personable and enjoy those types of activities. I've had the opportunity to do that with my kids in school and with through my work and such to participate in those types of things. So happy to happy to be an ambassador, happy to help serve at programs and events, whatever that may look like in the future.
Thank you.
Hi there again. I'm Tammy again. In your opinion, what are the most important current and future issues facing the city of Evans? And then a follow-up, and if you need me to repeat it later, it's okay.
Okay.
Do you have any specific issues you would like to address?
So, like I said, I did read through the priorities, and my career is in technology strategy and business strategy. So, I always kind of look to anchor what I do and, how I do it in kind of the strategies, or in your case, the priorities. And, I think a clean community, a family-friendly community, self-sufficient, I think was one of them. Economically diverse. I've done economic development work earlier in my career. Good infrastructure. I think all of those things holistically. Obviously, you have all studied it and live it, in your roles. So, putting forth those as your priorities seem to be incredibly reasonable and appropriate for a community like this. And I think that doing all of them in balance with the budgets and the economic times that exist are important. So I support all those. An issue that's I think your second question was what's an issue that's important to me. I think all of those are important. I would say that if there's a particular kind of passion of mine, it's around I think as a country, and certainly as a region and as a city, we have a obligation to do all we can to address homelessness. I was involved a little bit with Greeley. I know that they had done some task force work back through Ben Snow when he was over with the Greeley group, and I had done some work with them. And in my previous community in Illinois, I was involved with a night in the car kind of simulation where you would simulate and raise money for homelessness. And it's an issue near and dear to my heart. I think that again, globally, I think there's an issue there, and certainly that exists on all levels. So that's a personal issue for me.
Perfect, thank you.
Dan, Jeff Crabtree, Ward 2. Thanks for taking some time this evening. My question's two questions, pretty easy. What's one thing you wouldn't change about the city of Evans?
One thing I wouldn't change. Wow, do I just have to pick one?
And pick three. give me the top.
Wanna hear it?
What you wouldn't want to change. What value?
Well, I think that and this will sound self-serving. I believe in it, so I wouldn't change this. I'm a believer in this type of leadership structure. I think that if you look at kind of the ward system, and you've got representation, and a mayor system and a city staff, I think that's a good way to have participation and engagement. I like the parks in the city of Evans. I like the development that I can see going on in the city of Evans. So I commend all of you and probably your predecessors and many other people in the history who've laid good groundwork. So I think there's a lot not to change. So good work. Keep doing good work.
Thanks. We'll keep doing that hard work. What would you change?
That's a good question, and it's probably a little difficult. I'm somebody who does, likes to have a lot of information in front of me to make a good sound opinion. Again, this would be probably uninformed, but this would be my best assessment here is that I'm not sure that the visibility and the connectedness to all the good things that are going on. So maybe a little bit more tooting your own horn, so to speak.
Yes.
So I don't know what what you categorize that in terms of your, marketing, branding, visibility of the good things you do.
How would you drill into that a little bit deeper? What would you do?
Yeah, so like I said, my background's in strategy and technology. I think that there's probably lots of things in the technology space that you can do. Maybe more vibrancy in social media, maybe some other tools to get different demographics and different age groups excited about the community and such. Again, I hope I'm not criticizing anybody.
No,
No.
This is
We're right
this is a
here.
question, and
Yeah.
you're answering a question.
Right there.
So,
So, I think a lot of research to understand the demographics and how to appeal to them. But, I think that, again, technology is my day job. Technology can be both good and bad. I think using it for good reasons and connecting with people is probably one that's good. You got to be purposeful and make sure that it's not creating distance from people and relieving us of the obligation to communicate and connect in person, but it can be an effective tool for outreach.
thanks, Dan. Appreciate that.
Okay, I'm Fred.
He didn't do that on the last one.
Good to meet you, Fred.
Where do you see the city of Evans in a few years, and how would you like to see the city grow?
I see it in a few years. I guess my opinion on that would be is that you got to go back to your strategy or your priorities, and I'm somebody who believes you just kind of iterate on those priorities, and those priorities probably ebb and flow based upon the availability of funds and budget. So I'm sure there's going to be infrastructure that needs to be put in place to continue to support the diverse economic growth that you want. I think there's probably some innovative industries, maybe around ag and some other places that might be interesting to see if there could be some incubation here in this community to kind of help, continue to diversify the economic base. I think, we just talked about it a little bit, the, growth and use of technology to, kind of create a connected community in multiple ways and getting kind of the next generation of community ambassadors involved. I think that's probably an area of growth and opportunity. Hopefully that's some good good inputs at this point.
Absolutely.
All right, so do you have any questions for us?
Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Ask her first.
You
Just
bet.
kidding.
Okay.
I'll give you my 2 cents no matter what, so.
Well, I think, I've read all of your backgrounds, all quite impressive and exciting. I think I would be curious to hear, 30 seconds or a minute or quickly from everyone about what you would want in a peer on the council, how a peer could help you be better and a stronger contributor. So, and I guess we can.
Oh,
start with
okay,
Mayor
all right.
and go
All right,
back.
back at you.
So for me is I think we all have a commitment to wanting to see the growth of the city and the city prosper. We've kind of been behind the curve on that for numerous years with development. I think we're finally getting to the point where we're going to sustain that growth. What I'm looking for in somebody is that's going to work with the council and look at things objectively and work with our community, work with our county commissioners and our sister cities and neighborhoods, and come to the best solution that's for Evans. Whether we disagree or not on a certain item, that's fine. But as long as we work together to achieve that goal, that's what I'm looking for. And when we're out there in the public, whether we voted no on an issue and we disagree with it, we're saying the same thing to our residents. We're saying the same things to our neighbors. We're saying the same thing to the county commissioners. That way we have that unified voice, whether we disagree or not. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I hope to have in the next council member.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, I feel like I like to have people on council that, really put a lot of thought and effort into being on council. And, you know, reading all of our reports, really coming up to speed with, everything that's going on in the city. I think the other thing that I like to see is, a little bit of pride of the city. I think that, when we go out in public, I want people to know, because I was born and raised here. Well, not, sorry, not born here, but I was mostly raised here in Greeley. And so Evans has always been, you know, the suburb of Greeley that I didn't visit with. And now that I live here and have been running my business in here since, you know, the 89, I just have pride in the city. And I really want to see it look nice and be welcoming and safe. And the other thing that I really want from my co-counsel people is support of our staff and support of, especially for me, the police. So I like to have our safe community, and I like to have us supporting the people who are supporting us and really trying to do good with the city.
Awesome, thank you, Laura.
Well, when I first got on council, it was the youngest city council I have in memory since 1979. So they're forward-looking, and the past city councils haven't been that way. So it's been, we can't afford it, and we have discovered kind of from our new city manager that maybe part of that was coming from the city manager. The past city managers were more or less determining what you could afford and what you couldn't. But seriously, money is always an issue with government. There's never enough to go around to do everything that people want, and you have to make those decisions, and it's a lot of discussion sometimes, and sometimes it hasn't gotten too heated here, but it can, as you probably already know.
Passionate individuals.
Very passionate.
Yes. I agree with a lot that was said. I think for me is if I were to, my hopes is to have someone that also, going back to the ambassador, gets out and then also helps with that visibility. Because again, you know, some of us are not going to be here after the fact, and we're very forward thinking, and we hope that whomever comes in continues that trajectory. And granted, every council is different, and they're able to do as they please, you know, depending on who's on, but continues that.
Right.
You know, someone that is gonna, you know, ensure that they're on brand with us and with the city and what we're doing, and ensures that they display that. But especially because, as you mentioned, that visibility, right? There is social media, but then there's also us. And when I first came on, you know, it was one of the biggest things that we all felt that we needed. And so when you go places, just remember who we are, have that pride, represent us, you know, in a good way, and also talk about us. And even to our, you know, your own horn, in the sense, hey, Evans is doing all these great things, because sometimes that's way more effective, right? When they see you out there excited about what we're doing. I think right now things look so different than they did in the past, and it's because of the council that we have. We all work together, and we want the best for the city, and we truly are passionate. And when you get those moments that we feel a specific way, it's because that passion, and we're all on this board because we want to do better. We want to do right by the city, so we want someone that feels the same way.
That's awesome. Passion is caring. So
Yes. And I mean, for the most part, it's a volunteer board. So, I mean, you're here because you want to be here, right? Because you have that passion. That's who we want to continue that trend. Yeah.
Wonderful. Excellent.
For me, it's kind of a few different things, but I enjoy hearing everybody's opinion. They all can think of different questions I'm in the south end of the town that I don't think of because I don't live across the railroad tracks or up by Mark where he lives, or Jeff. So they're gonna see different areas of the city. I'm gonna see different areas of the city, but we all bring it together and make a cohesive unit. So I do enjoy and learn from everybody on council just by listening. And most of the time, I'm pretty quiet on discussions, but not last night, but because last night I had some stuff. But I'm telling you, I don't like no. But it's seriously, I feel as though I learned just as much from them as the staff and everybody else. The other thing is communicating with residents. We can have our own personal opinions, we can have our own personal beliefs, but I'm not here for Tammy Mortenson's beliefs. I'm here for the city of Evans. I love my city. And so, you know, you can go talk to people, and I can't tell you how many I've talked to, and they didn't realize we bought our treated water from the city of Greeley. They have no, and I love when they tell me Greeley's water tastes better. I'm like, you're drinking. I'm like, you're drinking the same water. So, but things like that, and then once they learn it, oh, okay, or you know, then they can bring other things to you, which you can take to the city. So, I do believe then as well with the managers, the city manager, just depending on how that person does, and I saw the last city manager, and you know, compared to Cody, we've had the last year. There's no comparison. Cody's way up here, and so if you have a good manager, they're going to be able to direct the staff and get the things done that need to be done for the city. So.
Well, that was really easy transition to me. I concur.
Well played, well played.
It's nice to be the last at the end of the train here because
first
what
next
I
time.
would like,
Yeah.
what I would like to see is specialized team player. Every one of us have our own unique skill set, and together we need to really be the voice of our stakeholders, and those are the residents of Evans, and to then give that directive to an already well-placed staff to then execute those. And so it's an opportunity, but still almost a burden of truth that we have to work for the city and work for the people that live within our city. And I want to make sure that whoever's on the board with us has that same mindset and really understands that each person will come with their own specialty, but knows how to integrate into the collective for your IT side, so to speak.
Yeah,
So
No, this was great. Thank you all. Thank you all. I mean, that's you know, kind of to Tammy's point. You know, in a matter of a couple minutes, I learned a lot, and that's always important. And clearly, the team and the passion shines through, and the love of Evans. So that's thank you for indulging my question.
No problem. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. We really appreciate your time.
You bet.
And you, like I said, we'll have our discussion later, and you'll hear back from me sometime tomorrow before hopefully 5 o'clock.
Awesome.
And
Thanks.
historically, it's been a hard decision.
And yeah,
thank you.
Historically, it's always been a hard decision.
appreciate your time, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Meeting
much.
you. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. in your interest in the Ward 3 council member position. We really appreciate it. We have a few questions that we'll ask you. There's 6 in total. We'll go around the room and ask each question. We have 3 more interviews FPQ this evening. After we complete all the interviews, we're going to have a council discussion to see who we select to fill that vacancy. And you probably would expect a phone call from me tomorrow by about 5 o'clock tomorrow evening to let you know either way. So if you're ready to go, we'll jump right in.
No time like the present, sir.
All right, sounds good, sir. All right, first question, in 2 minutes or less, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are interested in being on the Evans City Council.
Well, my name is Jeff Robinson. I have had a variety of interesting careers over the years. I've worked in law enforcement through the Larimer County Sheriff's Office. I've worked in retail management for a number of years. I managed a piece of the business that was responsible for $30 million in sales and all of the training, hiring, purchasing, all of the fun stuff associated with businesses. Currently, I am working as a software engineer for a company out of Chicago. We make commercial real estate software for anyone who's interested in selling property. I believe I would say that I became most interested in serving on city council from barricades, of all things. One of my neighbors has had a number of problems over the years with their fence getting plowed down by people driving down the road. They had some creative attempts at covering that. They had some Christmas lights that they put up, arrows and signs, to no avail. And then, lo and behold, all of a sudden, these barriers pop up behind there. And
Nope.
it was wonderful. I was so thrilled to see that. It was one of those things. It's like, the government really can be there to support our friends and neighbors when they're encountering these kinds of problems. And I've seen a number of problems. I've talked to my neighbors and heard about some of their problems and issues. And I realized after talking to them that very few of them are reaching out and saying that, hey, this is an issue. I need some help correcting this. And I want to serve on city council because I'd like to be able to support those people, those folks that maybe don't get their voice heard quite as often. Dare say I didn't check the time. I hope.
No, you're fine. No, that's fine.
We're ahead of time, so.
Can I just?
You can, go ahead.
So I live close to there. So I saw their Christmas lights, the arrow. I saw them many times, even before that property was built. I saw how many times cars went through. And when there was a resident, I went and knocked on her door and said, hey, I see what's going on. Talk to me. This is what I'm going to bring to the council. Months later, it was just constant, right? And so I finally went and I spoke to her son at the time, and she was there as well. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna do something about this because this has gone on way too much, and now there's a safety issue, and I'm concerned because I did notice that she has like ADA features in her home, and God forbid she were to be outside and can't move that quickly, and they put the boulders and whatnot to kind of mitigate that component. And so finally, I came to the council and they all agreed because again, that's one of our things. It's like we want to ensure that our community is safe, and everyone agreed on that. And so the ballers, that's what you saw those come up because again, we care of our community. We're always out and about in every single of our wards, seeing what's going on, and we notice. It's just sometimes certain things take a little longer, and we're on it. It's just, we hope that although maybe the person doesn't know doesn't understand how to get their voice heard, we're also small enough to where we can see it and we raise those concerns here.
Absolutely.
That's it. Anyway, I wanted that.
And then rolling right
Okay,
into that.
and
There
then
you
on
go.
the next question. So as a council member, you are required to attend a number of meetings and events that generally occur during your personal time. Also, you also serve as an ambassador to the city, which means outside of our chamber, you represent the city. Are you willing to make the time commitment and effort it takes to serve as a city council member?
Absolutely. I can't think of any better way to spend personal time than to be able to support a community like that. It's one of the things that I had planned on doing, if selected, would be to spend some time canvassing some of the various neighborhoods in Ward 3 and asking, hey, what kinds of things are you noticing? Because after all the things that I've heard about that have not been raised, I would like to be able to engage the people and share with them that, hey, here's a resource. Let's talk about this. Let's bring this up and see what we can do as a community to fix it.
Thank you.
In your opinion, what are the most important current and future issues facing the city of Evans? And then do you have any specific issues you would like to address?
Well, in terms of the city of Evans, and it's kind of falls in both categories, would be the economy. The changes then that has been rather dramatic. I know y'all were discussing some of the changes of the budget last night and some of the things that are going to need to be added to be able to handle some of this stuff with inflation and whatnot. And I think that's something that really needs to be tended to very carefully. I think it's going to be a future issue as well, because it's not something that's going to turn around overnight. And I think whatever safeguards we can put into place ahead of time to mitigate the impact to the city, I think would be really beneficial. I noticed in terms of the real estate world, the commercial real estate world, small businesses have been hard pressed to find loans to be able to get started. While there are other types of businesses like industrial style businesses that have been doing much better. It's easier for them to secure funding to help grow the economy. So I think as a more immediate, more in the next 3 to 5 years, I would want to support any measures to try to increase the number of industrial type zoning areas that we have in order to help grow that economy. As a stronger economy will help us to survive that tide of the challenges we're in right now.
Thank you.
Jeff? Jeff? What's one thing you wouldn't change about the city of Evans? One or two?
I would certainly not change the focus on the people. You know, I've on occasion I've been listening into city council meetings over the last few years, and that's one of the common threads that I've really noticed is that there is a care for safety in people. I keep going back to last night. It's the one that's most recent in my mind. Like, we're talking about this new development that's going up and where the parks are going to be placed, and the focus on the safety concerns of having a park right off of a busy roadway like that. I think that's something that's absolutely paramount. I think it's easy to lose focus on it when you're thinking about all the concerns of a city, and I want to make sure that at no point is it ever forgotten that it's the people that we would serve, and it's their interests and safety that we're concerned with.
We do work for the people.
Absolutely.
Yep. What's one thing you would change?
I would like to improve funding for the police department.
Okay.
As, all over the place as that particular opinion might be. I've noticed a frequent postings for Evans Police Department positions, and it seems to be a struggle to attract people into that role. You know, we're asking these people to put their lives on the line and defend us, protect us, enforce these rules that we're putting in place. And I want to make sure that they're equipped to be able to do that appropriately. I think raising salaries would be a good place to start. And of course, we've got to be mindful of the budget in its entirety and the challenging economic times. I think it'll be an interesting challenge to find how we can move that money towards the police department to be able to improve that safety measure.
So you have a good idea because we just did that.
Oh, fantastic.
I think all of us on council, without a doubt, we are big supporters of our PD. We try to find every way we can help support them any which way possible. So
Good company.
you are a
Yes,
good
you are.
company.
And I can't wait till
We're
we
very
get two
protective of them.
dedicated traffic police. So,
Go by my house, I have had more racers down that road than I.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere.
Try living
Probably-
off 42nd.
Oh,
No
goodness.
lights. Yes.
I don't speed that much.
I honk when I
I
drive
didn't
by
even
you.
see you go by. I know
Is
you
that
did.
you?
Thanks, Jeff.
I can hear those honkers.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah. Fred?
oh, shoot, where am I at here?
You're in the council chamber.
Yes.
We give them
Thank you, Tammy.
Since 1979.
I'm having a tough day after,
Okay.
after
Sorry,
getting
I
my
just
eyes
hit your shoulder
dilated.
too.
Oh, sorry. Do you want us to read it for you?
No,
Are you okay?
No, I'll
Okay.
get it. Where do you see the city of Evans in a few years, and how would you like to see the city grow?
I would specifically like to see the city grow economically. I believe we have a lot to offer the state of Colorado, and I think oftentimes we're overshadowed by Greeley. And I would like in the next 5 years to be able to say that Evans is one of the fastest growing economies in the state of Colorado, because I think we have it in our power to do that. And I think just supporting small businesses as much as possible, carefully zoning areas for up and coming industries that may be able to move into our area, that is how I would like to see the city grow in the next 5 years.
And if you're canvassing, it's very interesting sometimes, but it's also extremely time consuming of your own personal time to do that.
Things worth doing, I believe, are.
So, what questions do you have for us?
You know, in so many interviews, I've always heard that you should always come prepared with specific questions. And I thought through it as much as I could, and I can't think of anything in particular that I would like to
No,
ask.
and
That's
that's
fine.
perfectly fine.
Can I ask you something though?
Yes, ma'am.
Did I meet you at Target?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I thought. When I saw, when you said Robinson, I was like, wait, I feel like I met you. Okay.
My three little hooligans
Yes.
shopping for birthday presents for
Yes. I was with my two.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time for being here this evening. Like I said, you'll be hearing back from me sometime tomorrow to let you know either way, but we really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I look
sir.
forward to it.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Likewise, thank you, sir. Yep.